Run VT. There we go.
Hey!
Intro, isn't it? What's this? So the one on the left was the American one, the stand one, and the Japanese one had a longer one.
Yeah, the Japanese one's really good. No, there's nothing wrong with the one that we know, because the music was done by the master himself, but the Japanese one just had that little bit of edge to it. You know what I mean? It's.
But yeah, it was a copyright nightmare. That's why I had to.
I can imagine anything Marvel related. You're going to get either flagged on or pulled straight away. Or
it was the Japanese that got flagged more than anything. But both of them, I can play like clarity.
I mean, I played the opening intro for Defenders of the Earth about 18 months ago, maybe a bit longer, and that got flagged. And when I looked into why it got flagged, it's because Marvel now own the property. So because they own the property and now it's a Disney franchise, even though it's it was a Dick studio that released it, Disney now own it, and it got flagged straight away.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I had one video I made when I first started my channel 2 or 3 years ago, and it was flagged this week because it had a clip from The Exorcist. I took this on to find it, hidden away it was. Right, let's bring this to the stage. So I will be showing my VHS in the background. Night of the Sentinels. Cool. It's a PG, so hopefully everyone's old enough to watch this. But it's got some nice art on the back. It's got the comic book stylings.
But it's good. It's, the releases of these were really odd because, I think the first season is a PG. I think then the second season goes to a U, and I think they run right through to a U again. Then, so you're thinking, well, what was in the first season that's not in the rest to make it a PG? It's odd.
A bit more adult, I would have thought, by going on.
They have got a bit of a dark undertone. If you watch it back now, I mean, I don't know about you, but obviously we got this a bit later in the UK than what they got it in the US. Obviously, it came out in 1992, October 92. It came out in the US on Fox Kids, and I think it was initially they made a 13-episode run, and that was done by a South Korean company.
Yes,
and then you can sort of see throughout the season the animation style vary a little bit. Some episodes it looks super cheap and like really crap, no detail in it. And other episodes just look fucking amazing, and you know what I mean. And the fine line on everything's unreal. So it's an odd one. But like I say, back in '92, me I'd have been in '92? I'd have been 14, nearly 15, I think. I just didn't really care about cartoons that much, and this thing popped up, and we got it sort of years later than when it first came out. So I think my initial run for this when I first saw it, I'd have been 16 maybe, and just wasn't interested at all at that point of cartoons. And then you watch it and you go, shit, it's like really dark. It's like it's almost anime, you know what I mean, with the storytelling in it and that. And it is really good. And I wasn't a comic book kid. I don't know about yourself, but I never got into the whole comic thing as a youngster. So I knew sort of main comic book characters, your Spider-Mans and your Batmans in this world and everything.
Yep.
But this brought a whole different level of character to a screen that people, I mean, they do it all the time now, but characters at this point, it was just mainstream and that was it. And I think when X-Men came out, it was probably the first franchise to sort of mix it up where they weren't mainstream characters unless you was into comic books. You don't have no idea who these characters were.
No, they definitely, and then they just brought more and more weird characters.
Yeah, I mean, they just plunged into the depths of the comics, really, didn't they? You know what I mean? It was a comic book for TV. You know what I mean? There's been other adaptations of stuff, and they go off on a tangent and they do their own things. But I think the X-Men stayed really faithful to where it was in the comic book of that time. It's the stories and the characters. It was really good to be faithful to the source. And again, I can't tell you any of the source material because I was never into comic books.
No.
Yeah. And even what
and say I never saw this when it came out. First time I saw it was like this month when I was preparing to watch it for this.
No, I can completely get that. Again, it's a show that we got, I think, 2 years after it first came out in the US.
We had the US had 2 episodes in October '92, and then had to wait for January for the next was it 11? But then it said, like you said, it'd be on Fox Kids on Sky here, and we didn't have Sky.
No, we didn't have Sky. I mean, we had cable round here, so cable TV. At that particular time, you won't be able to pull any of the Fox channels. So I wasn't seeing any of this stuff, and I think my first introduction to this was it would have been '94. I think Going Live picked it up Saturday morning. That's where it first showed. Yeah, that's where it first showed in the UK. I think it ran for 6 months on a Saturday morning on Going Live, and the viewing numbers were that good on it that it got pulled from Going Live and it got introduced into a prime time slot, the 4:05 slot on Children's BBC. Right. And that's where it stayed. That's where it stayed after that. It stayed on Children's BBC for its entire run. So again, I'd have been too old to watch it at that point. I mean, I'd have been at work. You know what I mean? I'd have started work at this point.
Yeah,
this coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, my first initial proper watching of this, I caught bits of it. You know what I mean? If I was up early enough on a Saturday morning when I was like 16, 17. But I never caught it when it ran on Children's BBC because I would still have been at work. And my first watching of this would have been the early 2000s when it got a rerun on Fox Kids, and at that time I had Sky TV because I was paying for my own Sky TV. I had my own house and everything. So that would have been 2001, I think. 2002. It got a rerun. It got a rerun because of the first films. When did the first film come out?
Yeah, that was 2000, wasn't it?
In 2000. So it's around that time because the film did well. Fox decided to rerun it on Fox Kids, and that's where I got it. And it used to rerun on a Saturday morning on Fox Kids, and that's where I first got into it. And to be fair, as a child, I probably wouldn't have watched this because it was too intense. You know what I mean? Most of my cartoon watching when I was a kid were happy-go-lucky, sing-along themes. You know what I mean? Get into it.
Amazing friends.
Yeah. And so I probably wouldn't have got into it. It probably wouldn't have been my cup of tea. But as being sort of the early 20s, when I got onto this, I was all over it. You know what I mean? It was great. and it seemed to be everywhere when it sort of like got the rerun in 2000. Obviously, DVD had come out, and it just got smashed senseless on DVD. I to this day, I mean, I collect a lot of cartoons, 80s and 90s, late 70s, 80s, early 90s stuff, and I don't think there's a cartoon ever been released that's had as many renditions or editions released as what this show has. It's unreal how much is out there for it. You can get one disc with 3 episodes on. You can get a box set of the first season. You can get a box set of half of the first season. It's ludicrous how much is out there. You can get stuff that doesn't run in order, that doesn't run in sync. There's like oddball episodes on discs, best ofs, and like Jean Grey sagas, and it's unreal. I joke you not, mate. I would say there's probably between 35 and 40 individual DVD releases of X-Men. It's unreal. It's unreal. Yeah, and if you are a collector, then just head down to your local charity shop. It doesn't matter which one. You will find every single one of them in there. There are thousands of X-Men DVD cartoons in every charity shop across these fair lands. It's unreal. It's unreal how much of this shit must have been produced on DVD, because it's in every charity shop you go into. It's bizarre. You know what I mean? So it proved how much of a big property it must have been.
Yeah.
I think they said at the time for the first season in the US, it found its way into 23 million homes. I mean, which is bananas to think about. A cartoon had 23 million viewers at one time. Crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I guess the rerun, we'll get to it later, but probably the new one's proving quite popular. So
very.
It will be good, but Bob's here, but he's going to talk about something else because he's had no interest in this. Maybe give the first episode a watch. Unless, have you seen the movies? Because I've seen the movies, and they are nowhere near as complex as the episodes in there.
No, the movies are horrible in comparison.
That is true.
They bring characters into it that no one knows. They bring villains into it that no one knows, that were just like side villains, and make them main characters because obviously they didn't know what to do. So they brought Toad in, and Toad's in like 10 episodes out of 5 seasons. But yeah, they brought him in as a main villain. I don't know why, but and again, it was a weird property. It's the norm in the Marvel universe now to bring sort of side characters and oddball characters to the mainstream and to the masses. At this particular time, it wasn't. You know what I mean? So unless you was, like we say, you're massive into the comic book lore, you had absolutely no chance of knowing who any of this was. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, Ian McKellen was certainly not as buff as animated Magneto.
No, not whatsoever. Was probably about 40 years older as well. You know what I mean? And I mean, Sir Ian is a fellow Wiganer as well as he's a fellow brethren. So he's no, not at all.
But the costumes, I can understand why they didn't use them for the first live action.
Yes, they're way too technical. It would have been good if they could, but again, a film like that, I don't think it would have worked at that particular time. You know what I mean? It's some of the costumes are great. Some of the stuff they would have to have done with CG probably wouldn't have worked at that particular time to get some of these costumes. You can understand why certain characters weren't used in the first film because the CG probably wasn't there to render that particular character. And again, you know what I mean? I can't really diss the films. They were of the time. They're not brilliant and they don't hold up too well, but at the time I enjoyed them. You know what I mean? It's
because I didn't know any better about like the representation of Sabretooth in either of his versions There's nothing
Yeah.
compared to what this thing is.
Not,
The monster you get in the
no.
film, the TV show.
Yeah. He is legitimately looks like a two-legged saber-tooth tiger. He's a freestanding saber-tooth tiger. Obviously they couldn't cut that in the film. They couldn't deal with that kind of costume. But yeah, I mean the storylines within the whole 5 seasons are intertwined. They go backwards and forwards. They're traveling in and out of time. There's huge sagas, like massive, like 6-part episodes, like dumped in the middle of a season. You've really got to watch it. It's not one of those shows where you could tune in on a Saturday morning. It didn't matter if you'd never seen any before, because they were just one-off stories. This was completely different. It was episodic. Everything led on. It was constantly to be continued. Things running into it, and it's a complicated system. It really is, and it holds up really well. If you go and watch it now, you know what I mean. It does hold up well. The animation style's good.
Yep.
It is a really, really good show. You know what I mean. And that was hard to say for the beginning of the 90s. Because sort of kids TV had just started dwindling away a little bit, and it was very hard for anything that was coming out to hit a mainstream audience that sort of like flew off the shelves. It said it spanned a toy line or whatever. A lot of this shit from the 90s didn't do it, but X-Men just seemed to hit a chord, and people seemed to love it. I think probably what it was that a young dad could get up with his son on a Saturday morning and watch this with his young son and still enjoy it. Where some of the other cartoons they were probably watching together at the time was thinking, Christ, son, this is crap. You know what I mean? But X-Men, you know what I mean? If you had a son, say, 5, 6, 7 year old, and you was in your early 20s, the both of you could probably enjoy it together because you were both probably getting something out of it. There's sections of it that are really dark that I don't think kids would understand.
No,
you know what I mean? Well, it works a treat. It does work a treat.
But yes, because it was it ACOM in the Korean animators?
Yes, South Korean animators, yeah.
Fixes, yeah, and they refused to do it because they'd have to do it for free, and then things happened, and eventually they said, we'll fix it, and Fox had to they had to rerun this as the 2 first episodes was the only ones they had released on the October. Then they had to wait, make it a 1-hour special in January just before the rest were done and ready to go. But they never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was all kinds of teething problems with the first season. Obviously, like I said before, the master himself wrote the music, so Shuki Levy did the music for this. And Shuki Levy, if anybody knows, did every class 80s kids cartoon you could think of. So he did the theme tune for Real Ghostbusters, Master of the Universe, She-Ra, Inspector Gadget, Mask, Jason the Wheel Warriors, you name it, he did the music for it. Mysterious Cities of Gold, he did everything. And and Shuki Levy did the music for this. But then Marvel and Fox Kids got sued by, I think it was a Polish animation company, that said they had something out between 89 and 91 that they accused of plagiarism with the and then when it went to court, it's very
that bit. It's about it.
Yeah, but obviously with the powerhouse that were. Well, Marvel weren't massive at this time, but they were a big company. Put that with Fox Kids, it soon got brushed under the carpet. So, you know what I mean? I would imagine accusing Shuki Levy of plagiarism would wouldn't have gone down too well, because, like I say, he is the master of intro music. He rewrote a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? He did. Ulysses 31, the original Japanese opening for that is like a string quartet kind of music. It's really weird. And Suki Levy did the rework and made it probably the best intro song of all time. You know what I mean? For kids TVs, it's a fantastic intro.
But yeah, because Stan Lee had almost no involvement in this because he wanted to make it camp and have him as a human introduce it behind his desk every week.
Yeah.
So they said, no, we're doing this proper. So he was.
Yeah. So I think he wanted it. Yeah, he wanted it. So it was just individual stories every week. So it felt more like a children's cartoon. And there'd been some stuff out before this. So you had, like you said before, you had Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Oh yes.
Was the Amazing Spider-Man out before this? I think it was as well. Was that late 80s? There's been that many renditions of Spider-Man. I get lost with it all. But
I can't keep up.
Yeah, there was the DC one. Was it Superman? There's one where there's Superman and where Wonder Woman's in it, and then Batman, and obviously they've been done where obviously there was no sort of running through storyline or anything. They were individual episodes, and I think it was okay. You know what I mean? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I used to watch a little bit. It was okay. The animation style always looked a bit cheap. It was always a bit cheesy. Firestar, yeah. But it just felt like the way it's been animated and the way those have been animated, it felt like very Hanna-Barbera. The animation style always looked very, very cheap. A lot of stock footage used on everything. And I think, like I said, when this came out, it was head and shoulders above anything that had been done previously in sort of like the superhero universe.
Oh yeah. It's the first. What was it? Serialized and had episodes continuing to the next, and almost none of them were standalone. And then they had the Phoenix Sagas and
Phoenix Sagas, massive.
Yeah. Was it Days of Future Past and
which ended up as a film
twice?
Yeah, Days of Future twice.
I guess there's a road cut on that as well. So there was, the Phoenix has done twice.
So it's but if you watch the Phoenix Saga and this, it's really good because it's been a long time since I've watched the Phoenix Saga, and it does have its own standalone DVD, so you can just get the Phoenix Saga, and I think it's 6 episodes. But within the Phoenix Saga, you get introduced to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
So Guardians of the Galaxy turn up. I'm sure it's Phoenix Saga that they turn up in, but it's a completely different Guardians that you know of. It's like it's completely different characters in it. So you found that quite a bit. I think Spider-Man crops up in some episodes as well, as there's like a whole sort of storyline based around Spider-Man and Madam Web within the X-Men timeline. It's weird. It's
and cameos by Deadpool and stuff like that.
Yeah. Then I've got some here. So the first 2 seasons were released by Jetix, which was the subsidiary of Fox Kids. So when Fox Kids sort of changed its name and it went to Jetix, we got Jetix in the UK as well as. So Jetix released the first 2 lots of DVDs. So like they came out weirdly. So obviously they were only putting them out on single disc. So obviously there's that many episodes. They couldn't put a full season on one disc. So that's season 1, volume 1, episodes 1 to 7. So like you've got running there, it was Night of the Sentinels part 1 and 2, Enter Magneto, Deadly Reunions, Captive Hearts, blah blah blah. But these were restored video and audio, and you got a booklet with them as well, so they look really good. So then that was season 1, volume 1, and season 1, volume 2 with Gambit on the front. So again, these were PG.
You got two people in the Gambit crowd.
Yeah, I always liked. I always liked Gambit as a character. I always thought he was a bit sort of edgy and he was a bit earthy, and you know what I mean. He didn't really care for what he was doing. I think 9 times out of 10, all he wanted to do was shag Rogue. You know what I mean? He was just chasing her down constantly. You know
if he
what I
could find an
mean?
old body condom, he probably would have, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have done. Yeah, he'd have crawled right in there. You know what I mean? So,
I can't blame him.
no, not at all. And then season 2 was done by Jetix as well as, so they start bringing more stuff in, and then they bring Sinister in as the main bad guy in this season, and again, it starts off with a 2-parter, like they always seem to do these, and then they get into a mid-season, and then once they go mid-season, it starts off with a 2-parter again. It seems to be a running occurrence on them all, that there's always a 2-parter beginning and in the middle. And again, these have been remastered and video and audio. For some reason, they put season 2 out in a clear box, while the rest of them are in black, which really annoys me. You know what I mean? It just looks shit on your shelf. It just messes everything up.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Keep things
the same. Yeah. So season 2 starts to bring some other characters into it as well. So obviously, main characters from season 1 would have been Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, Rogue, Charles Xavier, Gambit, Storm. You probably saw, yeah. Morph, Wolverine, Jubilee. So there's 10 or 11, I think, sort of like milling around. I mean, Jubilee as a character, she's hardly ever does fucking anything. You know what I mean? I feel sorry for her.
What the hell used to she? I know she's in the first episode of the first season to introduce you to what's going on. She's just that level, but she's absolutely useless at doing anything, isn't she? Yeah, she's just a crap. She can sort of fire. Yeah, fireworks. I don't even know what the power is. I don't know what it's supposed to do. But I think no, it doesn't actually do anything. I think it can blind people like temporarily. That's about as good as it's for. But
I think they used her sort of as that child element. So it you know what I mean? Because everybody was an adult in it, apart from her. And then season 2, they started to bring some other characters in. So you get Colossus turns up, which I always like Colossus as a character. Psylocke turns up. Psylocke's she's a bit like Deadpool. She's sort of like sat on the fence. She's neither a good guy or a bad guy. She's just like there. But Psylocke's power is really good. She can build up kinetic energy. And she turns it into like weapons that come out of her hands.
Yeah, she was in X-Men Apocalypse, wasn't she? As
yes. She turns to be a bad guy. Yeah, I can't think who played her in them. But she starts off as a bad character and then turns good. And then you sort of like, Nightcrawler turns up in season 2 for a little bit, but I never really liked the Nightcrawler character. He was always a bit crap and a bit whingy.
And Juggernaut bitch.
Yeah. And then you had what was his name that could travel through time? Abel. Yeah, so he's a mutant that can absorb massive amounts of energy and then expel the energy as a weapon. But he's also a time traveler, so he can travel back and forward in time. So that's the whole time travel thing brought into the universe.
Yeah, he was the one that went back in time instead of Wolverine in Days of Future Past.
Yeah. So they started to bring all these kind of characters into it, which is really good. So that was season 2, and then season 3.
islands and space and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Alphabet Cat says Iceman came into one episode. He rebelled.
Yeah.
To Xavier, but yeah, he was very similar to what he was in the Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then it sort of goes off on a tangent on season 3, and they start like just throwing all kinds of weird stuff in it. They end up traveling back in time to fucking dinosaurs, and there's a mutant in that past who can fucking ride dinosaurs and shit. And you're going, right, I don't really know where this is going now. But season 3 is where the Phoenix Saga kicks in.
Yeah,
which is probably the best storyline throughout it all. So that's season 3 with the Phoenix on the front, just kicking shit out of everybody.
Better explained than whatever happened in X-Men Dark Phoenix, because
yes, yeah, it's
similar.
It is, yeah, it is really good. The storyline's really dark and gritty. And she's like, you always get that within the films. You always get this thing that Jean Grey's got something going on behind her, and Xavier's trying to sort of block it all out. Well, in this, it just unleashes itself as like a creature from space that just takes over her body completely. Now, she's always been at one with this. It's like a sentinel being to her. It's drawn to her, and it just takes over her. And because she's a really powerful mutant anyway, it just ramps everything up to 1,000, and she just goes batshit crazy.
Pretty much.
So that's pretty good. But then, like season 2, they end up fucking fighting with dinosaurs and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea what's going on. No, I've no idea. I don't think it even says up back.
No. Literally hundreds of characters in the whole 5 seasons.
Yeah, it just gets nuts. So the first 3 seasons, like I said, drop into any of your local charity shops, and you'll find them really easily. Seasons 4 and 5, holy shit, they are really hard to get hold of, and I don't know why. No, unless the tail end of all this stuff, they weren't selling as much, so they weren't producing as much. I don't know. But seasons 1 to 3, goddamn everywhere. You can find them all over. You'll find these things in like 5 for £1 buckets and all that kind of stuff. Seasons 4 and 5, really, really hard to get hold of. I've never ever come across them. Hence, I don't have them. But yeah, but like I said, for a cartoon of its nature and the cartoon of its like severity in places, because it is dark and it is gritty, to get 5 series out of it, 13 episodes a season, you know what I mean? They did really well.
Yeah, because it takes place on Earth 92131 of the Marvel universe. Does that mean?
Yeah.
Same universe as Spider-Man, the animated series from 94.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's all the other TV shows take place in other universes. It doesn't help.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do anything with the X-Men franchise, sort of film related, I think now is the time. I think that Marvel bubble has burst really. I think Deadpool may hold it together a little bit. I think if they don't squeeze the X-Men in with Deadpool at the moment, or slowly use Deadpool to bring the X-Men into it so they can get another standalone film, it's probably much done. You know what I mean? I don't think many people care anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to come back, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's. I mean, I don't know if you've watched any of the newer stuff. It isn't good.
Well, X-Men 97.
No, I mean the Marvel film stuff.
The Marvel films, yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, that's,
you know what I mean.
I'm trying to think of. I haven't seen. I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was the last one I saw in the cinema.
Yeah,
and I haven't kept up with shows.
I would imagine Guardians 3 was the last one I watched, and that was at the cinema. We went watching that as a group. and I hated it from start to end. It was
Which one?
just the third Guardians film.
Oh, good. I thought it was just me.
No, just there is nothing to that film in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing.
I felt nothing for that digital otter.
Nothing. I just didn't care about a sea lion as well as, or whatever the hell it was, fucking walrus or something like that. It was, I just didn't care. None of the characters were you cared about them. The storyline was weak. It's the TV stuff's hit and miss. Yeah, the TV stuff's hit and miss. I really try with it. I watch everything that comes out TV stuff, and it's very rare I like any of it. You know what I mean? Loki was okay. I didn't mind Loki, but the rest of it I just can't get on board with. It's a shame, really. But I think going on to X-Men '97. I've watched all 3 episodes up to now, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. They've done a stellar job with it. Yeah, and it feels like you've just picked up from where Series 5 finished off. It's really, really good.
We should say season 5 ended with was it Xavier's really ill. Magneto boosts him to send a message to his girlfriend in space. She comes and picks him up and flies away. He says his goodbyes to his X-Men.
Yeah,
and then it ends.
Yeah, and then it just picks up brilliantly. '97. It's as close as an animation style as you're ever going to get it, I think. Yes, there are subtle differences, and you've got to watch a lot of X-Men '92 to pick up on it. Bits I've seen are overcompensating on black outline. There's some really dark, heavy outline on some of the characters. Some of the characters in the background. Now, I don't know if this is done on purpose or not. It could very well be, but characters in the background haven't much detail on them. They're very soft animation style, and I think that it looks like it's been done on purpose to sort of simulate what the original stuff looked like. It's clever. It's very good. The other thing is some of the voice actors, yes, they've come back, but some of the voices they sound massively different, which they are going to do. You know what I mean? It's
25 years old.
Time. Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
But up to now, out of 3 episodes, the story writing and the storytelling, it's phenomenally good. Really good. And it's as dark as whatever the original series were. I mean, the first 3 episodes, it's as dark as you're going to see. You know what I mean? For a show of its caliber, really. It's
babies and clones or whatever it is. And
yeah, deaths and not deaths, and you know what I mean. It's it's bad guys coming back as good guys, and it's weird and all over the show, but it's really good. And I don't think I've heard anybody sort of slag it off yet. Anybody that's critiqued it or reviewed it or done whatever. Yeah, I thought there would have been sort of like old school fanboys moaning and bitching about it like there always is, but no, it seems that everyone seems to like it, which is, you know what I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah, although it's only the first 3 episodes, so it could just drop off, I guess, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think it will, and if they're staying with the thing of 13 episodes, which I'm not 100% sure how many episodes is coming out for it, but if they stay in the realms of 13 like that they've done previously, then you know what I mean, it should work quite well. And I like how they're doing it episodic as well. They've not dumped it all on at once. It's, you know, and it's on every Wednesday, so there's something to tune into. There's something, massively. You know what I mean? And I don't get me wrong, I don't mind a binge watch, but I like, you know what I mean, the story progressive nicely.
Yeah. Although the only trouble is, everyone was ready to slag it off, and then Marvel have sacked the showrunner, who was who set up the 2 seasons, but now he's gone. So we'll see if they'll bring him back quick.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine they'll be knocking on his front door now. You know what I mean? please come back.
Please come back.
We've had 10 million views an episode. You know what I mean? It's like...
You were doing something right before we just threw you under the bus.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stuff stems from the Master of the Universe revelations that Netflix picked up. Obviously, I think he was the showrunner for that. I can think of his name from Silent Bob, from Jay and Silent Bob.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. He was a showrunner for that, and that got absolutely slated. But if you're a Master of the Universe fan, I don't know you can slate that show because it's exceptionally good. Animation style's brilliant, the story's brilliant. But for some reason, they just slagged it off and just slagged Kevin Smith like you wouldn't believe. But he just took it on the chin, and he's a showrunner for the second series. So yeah, I would imagine Disney are going to be going back to him and going, listen, we made a mistake. Sorry, can you come back?
Yeah. Because what was it? The end of the Marvels has a clip of setting up the X-Men for the Marvel universe using, was it Kelsey Grammer as Beast?
Kelsey Grammer
as
Beast. Yeah.
Trilogy.
Yeah.
So how's that going
to
work? Is that already setting up?
Yeah. It's odd. You know what I mean? It's whether we get a glimpse. I don't even know when the new Deadpool film's out. No, unless we get a peek of more X-Men stuff in that. Obviously, Wolverine's in it. And unless we get a peek of some extra X-Men turn up in it. So I know we've had Colossus up to now turn up in this. Was it the second one? Yeah, Colossus turned up in the second one. I can't think who was the other character that turned up with the female character. I can't think who that was.
No. I don't know.
Yeah, so like I say, I think if they're going to do anything with an X-Men franchise, film-wise, now's the time that with Deadpool. You know what I mean? It's I think that's the only way to be able to shoehorn the X-Men back into anything.
Yeah, they must be starting a clean slate, so they don't have to have anyone old back in it.
Yeah,
because no one's up to the task.
Yeah, and they can alter a timeline however they want within the X-Men franchise. You know what I mean? It could be a parallel universe. It could be forward in time. It could be backward in time. It could be, you know what I mean? I think that's the beauty of it. It's all over the show. So if they need to pick it up wherever they need to pick it up from, you know what I mean? In theory, they could go right back to sort of the original stuff when the team was first put together. And there's a few different characters in there. You know what I mean? They're all wearing them weird costumes and. Yeah, they're all in like weird yellow onesies.
That is true, but yeah, how would with the success of X-Men 97, are they just going to keep to that design and have that, but in human form?
Possible. I think that's what people are probably crying out for. You know what I mean? I think any sort of cartoon adaptation that's been turned into a film, it's never really hit the mark of what the original cartoon was. And it was like the last Dungeons and Dragons film. Everyone slated it, apart from that like 30-second period where the animated characters of Dungeons and Dragons turn up in the film, and everyone was crazy for it. And you're thinking, well, why didn't they just do a live action film of the original Dungeons and Dragons characters? That's what people wanted. But no, we'll give you something that no one fucking knows about. Just adding like, you know what I mean, video game stuff in there and tabletop gaming stuff in there, and we'll go to Daggerdale. Unless you're into that shit, no one knows where Daggerdale is. You know what I mean? Just do the stuff. Kids get a fucking kids get kidnapped on a fucking on a fairground ride. You know what I mean? End up in a different realm. Just do that. That's what everyone wants.
Yeah,
But no.
I've never played the board game because I haven't got that kind of time.
Yeah, I was never that kind of kid neither. I've never been into tabletop gaming or anything like that. But the cartoon, I'm still obsessed with it now. The cartoon's amazing. But it's there's never been a good cartoon franchise that's made its way to a film and worked. So you'd like to think if they was going to do something, then if you look at the backdrop now on this, you'd aim for the look of those characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want to see Rogue in that kind of jumpsuit? You know what I mean? It's
I was going to try and position it so we could see, but
yes, there you go. And there was in every episode there was a flying shot of Rogue, arse first, just a straight up rear end shot of her arse. Yeah, it took off to the side, bum cheeks. You know what I mean? Every episode.
She was highly sexualized in the show because
massively.
Gambit was trying to give it to her. He's got his pole.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. He'll have charged his pole.
A family channel.
Yeah.
Thick road.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, too much time set up for television. Exactly. Once you've set up the board and then made all the rules, it's nighttime.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've had some really geeky mates who plays Dungeon Master. You know what I mean? It wasn't really my cup of tea. No, I didn't mind the sort of like the Ian Livingstone books, the Fighting Fantasy books. That was about my limit. You know what I mean? Turn to page 23. You know what I mean? You turn to page 23. One of them. Yeah, I was obsessed with them. I still own loads of those books, but that was as far as like role playing as I went.
But yeah, what we didn't discuss was Gambit because he's a fan favorite, and then he got 5 minutes in Wolverine.
yeah, like a huge fan favorite. Yeah, I think because he's. I wouldn't say he was a badass. He's not. He just really doesn't care. He's just not bothered about anything other than trying to shag Rogue. That's his entire being. He's just trying to slip her one all the time.
Someone picks her, and then he'll be very happy. So she's not killing, tries to get near her.
Yeah, I mean, even in '97, the first episode, you know what I mean? He's trying to slip her one in the first episode of X-Men '97. You think it's only just come back on TV and Gambit's at it again. It's like,
that was the one thing about the X-Men movie is Rogue is nothing like a comic book counterpart.
No, nothing. They made a really young. Yeah, they made a really young. They made her a friend of Wolverine, which was a bit weird.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make her the Jubilee. I guess that she's the new kid on the block, but
the new kid on the block, yeah. And then for the later ones, they brought what's her face in for that, didn't they? Yeah. Shit. What's her name or his name? Is it now? Is it?
Oh,
is that a Martha?
Yes, that's it. Paige.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. With a character that no one really knew, a character that could walk through solid objects, which didn't materialize much in the show. May have done in the comic book, I don't know, but in the TV show, didn't really didn't appear much. I don't think. But '97, it looks like they're really pushing the character Morph. Now, in the original series, Morph was only in it a little bit for the first series, and he was like mentally disturbed. And then you find out in the second series that Sinister had taken him and like run experiments on him and twisted his mind and all kinds of stuff. But Morph's a really good character, and obviously he can shapeshift. He can change into any sort of living thing, whether it be a human or animal. But it looks like they're really pushing the character in this because he's been in every episode. He's been in the whole of the storyline up to now in '97. So that's good to see because Morph's a pretty decent character. But in the original first couple of seasons, he's there you go. Yeah. In the first couple of seasons, he's like a really weird, strange character that they don't know if they can trust him or not. And it looks like he's got mental health issues, and it turns out he's not. It's like Sinister's just like fucked him up massively. But it's you know what I mean. It's looking to be good.
Killed off, doesn't he?
Well, you think he does, yeah. You think he gets killed off, but he doesn't. He doesn't really get killed off. He, like I said, Sinister. Well, he does get killed, but Sinister finds him, somehow brings him back to life, and then starts messing with his DNA. Because that's how Sinister captures mutants, makes clones of them, and then takes their DNA and puts their DNA into himself. So he's trying to make himself like a super mutant. Who wouldn't? You know what I mean?
Yes, makes sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah. But then Morph does come back a bit later on, and they manage to sort him out and everything. But you only ever saw Morph as this like sort of like massive, depressing looking guy with like big bags under his eyes, and he's all like thin and deranged. Well, in this, you've got a little glimpse of him looking like that, but he's got like the clear white face. And the white hooded face with no real resemblance of anything on it, which is quite cool that they've gone for that look instead of.
Yeah. It's not Tony Hart's Morph made of plasticine, it's a different one.
It's a different one. But I am a fan of Tony Hart's Morph. So.
And now something from the gallery.
Something from the gallery, yeah. Great. But yeah. it's had so many sort of like spin-offs and other things. I would imagine early 2000s there was X-Men Evolution, which was like I thought it was like a different animation style, and Wolverine seemed to be leading the team in that one. And then there's another one that's sort of 2005-ish kind of timeline, I think. But all the characters are at high school. I can't think of what that one's called.
Didn't know that one.
Yeah, which is pretty good because you get like all. It doesn't matter if you're an X-Men or on Magneto's team or whatever. All these mutant kids will all go into like regular high school together. Of course it is, yeah. And it's okay. It's all right as far as the show goes. It's fine. But there's been loads. But Evolution was the one after this that they really pushed, and it didn't really do much.
I don't think I remember being it when it was on.
Yeah, and again at that particular time, early 2000s, Christ, you know what I mean. I'd just bought a house and had a family, and you know what I mean. So I wasn't really paying much attention. You know what I mean? So,
exactly. Yes, I was the same. Because I'm trying to think of any cartoons I caught up on, but no. But yeah, so
yeah,
X-Men.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for stuff that gets rebooted or reimagined or whatever, it doesn't always go to plan, does it? But this looks pretty good. You know what I mean? X-Men '97. I think they've hit the ground running with it. It just feels like a seamless continuation of what we knew. So
yeah, it's just like
it's really good.
From standard definition to HD. That's about the only difference.
Yeah, that's about it. It's really good. But like I said, from a show, especially in the UK, that started off just as a Saturday morning thing, and it pushed its way onto mainstream because that wasn't always the case. It was very, very rare that happened. There wasn't a lot of cartoons, 80s, 90s stuff that went from Saturday morning TV that went onto mainstream kids TV, whether ITV or BBC. There were few and far between. And I think X-Men was one of the big exceptions. It started off as a Saturday morning show for us and ended up as a mainstream. I think in America it ran solely as a Saturday morning show all the way through its entirety.
Yeah.
On Fox Kids, yeah, which you know what I mean. Again, like I said before, to get the viewing figures it was getting for a Saturday morning show, you know what I mean, 23 million. That's unheard of these days.
Yeah,
it's
close.
No,
Everything's so spread out. Right. Well, if that's all you have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its fan base. I will give it that. You know what I mean? It still holds a good fan base. Guys who I know that are still into the kind of stuff that I'm into, you know, massively into the cartoon stuff, still hold it in high esteem. You know what I mean? I think everybody you speak to generally hasn't got a bad word to say about X-Men '92. It's still up there with one of the better cartoons. Because if you think about the stuff that was coming out at that particular time, there was very, very little that was probably as good as.
I think everyone says Batman the animated series up here, and then just below it is X-Men.
Yeah, and you're probably right. Because don't forget, at this point of time, especially in the UK, and I'd imagine in the US as well, you were still getting stuff rerunning from the 80s. So 80s properties were still massively shown at this time period, 92, 94. Christ, I can remember 80s stuff still showing at the beginning of the 2000s. And for a show to pick up a fan base like this that it did, I don't think there was many early 90s that got a sort of a bigger following than this did, really.
No, everyone talks about this.
Yeah.
And the Batman animated, but then no one's talking about Superman or the Spider-Mans, I guess.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was stuff, you know what I mean? You've got stuff like Dirtwing Duck, you've got stuff like Bucky O'Hare, and there was Biker Mice from Mars, Samurai Pizza Cats, there was all that kind of stuff coming out, Street Sharks, you know what I mean? There was loads of it, but none of it was as good as this, and none of it caught on like this did, because unlike this, all those other shows I've just mentioned felt like 80s properties. And I think people were tiring of it a little bit, whereas this was it was completely fresh. It was completely new.
23 minutes an episode, and apart from the minute intro.
Yeah, 30 minute intro. Yeah.
So much packed into that 20 minutes. It just went bump, reveal, action, done.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, because of the popularity, again, in the early 90s, for us in the UK with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously in the US, it had been out nearly 2 years before we got it, because we just decided no, we're not showing it. We're going to change the name. We're going to chop it up to high hell, edit it to fuck. We got it 18 months later, I think. So I never put Turtles into the sort of same time frame as this, even though it was sort of showing at the same kind of time. I never really put the two together, because Turtles was just like massive, and it was just everywhere. Turtles was just a cartoon. I think X-Men was a thinking man's cartoon. You know what I mean? It was
the Turtles fringe.
See, I love Turtles. I mean, I've got a Turtles top on there. But
the Hero Turtles on.
yeah. I love Turtles, but you could just disengage your brain. You didn't really need to know what was going on. It was just 4 turtles doing kung fu. It was great. You know what I mean? Whereas this, you had to get involved with the characters. You had to get involved with the storylines, and which was rare. You know what I mean? It was rare for stuff like this. Don't get me wrong. We had some cartoons, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah.
Apocalypse turns up. Omega Red, the Russian guy.
Yeah. Villain. Everyone just thinks it's Magneto as a villain.
No, he's. Yeah, it season after season seems to get a different villain, which was really good. And that's what was always good about the Spider-Man show as well. Spider-Man had so many, Amazing Spider-Man had so many villains cropping in and out of that. and that sort of storyline to around all those different villains. That was really good as well.
Was it X-Men Apocalypse film was quite bad.
Yeah, it's piss poor. Yeah, it's
because I knew nothing about the character in that film, and it wasn't explained who he was in the film.
No, it just turns up. It's
I think that's been around for years, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever hit the mark really with the X-Men films. I think, you know what I mean, for how many of them's actually out there, it's none of them are particularly well done.
There's about 10, isn't there?
There's a bloody load of them. So there was what, three off the original?
Three off the original. Then they
the
individuals with Wolverine. He had Wolverine, the Wolverine, and then
Origins.
Yeah.
And
then there was the First Class. Was it Days of Future Past?
Apocalypse.
So that's 9. I think I missed some. But yeah.
It was
horrible. And
Days
of Future Past was good. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I think at that point I sort of zoned out with all the superhero stuff. You know what I mean? It's I'd just give over at that point. It was just being rammed down your throat. It was like there was nothing else in the world other than superhero films.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course I forgot Dark Phoenix came after Apocalypse.
Dark Phoenix, Dark Phoenix. Yeah, that's
I guess it's an original.
I always felt a bit sorry for what's her face who played Jean Grey in that out of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, because she's not actually a bad actress. You know what I mean? She is pretty good. She portrayed the character quite well, but the film's just crap. You know what I mean?
Oh, there you go. I can see that. Because I can't remember. I think the only thing I remember from Apocalypse is Psyops or whatever her name is.
Psylocke, yeah.
And then the bit where Quicksilver turns up. And Sweet Dreams bit.
Yeah, the Quicksilver stuff's really good. You know what I mean? It's a nice touch. You know what I mean? It was a nice touch how they brought him into WandaVision, even though I didn't like WandaVision, but it was nice how they brought. Yeah, it was a clever twist. And how they brought both versions of Quicksilver. You know what I mean? In and out. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's clever. I like that kind of thing. But as the films go, they're not films that genuinely go back to.
Oh dear. So that's it. Olivia Munn. Oh, Larry didn't like her. Totally miscast as Psylocke. Well, see, I didn't know who the character was, but I guess she looked like she was cosplaying in it, but it was a very good cosplay.
Yeah. Yeah, the character as a whole looks like a straight up cosplay character. It's you see plenty of young women dressing as a Comic Cons and that. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Are you going to see Batman 2 in 2026? I hope so. Isn't it? Or is it 2025 now? Or is it 2026? Which one is it now?
Are we talking about the Batman that thing is just portrayed from the last film?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've not. I don't particularly like him. Batman's been done to death. Michael Keaton's my Batman, and that's it. I can't be really arsed with any of the others. Batman '89 and Batman Returns, and I'm done. You know what I mean? my wife loves the Christian Bale Batman, all 3 films, and I can watch them. Do I like them? No, not really, but I can watch them. And then Robert Pattinson just looking all sort of like gothic and moody. You know what I mean? No, I can't be bothered. It's
oh dear. But yes, I never saw the New Mutants. I totally forgot about that.
New Mutants. Came on. I'm trying to think what channel that came on. New Mutants.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, I can't think what.
That was rushed out and delayed by 2 or 3 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm sure there was a film, but there was also what was the there's a TV show as well, wasn't there? New Mutants. Or am I getting confused with something else that's tied into it as well as, but like an old Fox TV show, nothing.
Oh, okay.
Talking like early 2010, something probably around there.
Okay.
And then there's loads of companies pick the Marvel stuff up, like Marvel Runaways. Legion was there was another TV show for Legion. Have you seen that one? That's bizarre. I think didn't.
Yeah, because it's got the guy from The Guest in it. So I started watching it, but
yes,
it's not for me.
Yeah, I started watching it and it was way over my head.
Because he's supposed to be Professor X's brother, but then
yes,
he's in a mental institution for some reason.
Yeah, and it turns out he's not mental at all. He's actually his power coming forth, and it's his power kicking in. But it allows him to see like weird fucking midget guys and fucking all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah, it's like a Ken Russell film.
I don't know. Yeah, it's odd. Marvel Runaways. If anybody watched Runaways, that's like a gang of teenage mutants.
Oh yeah, I remember these coming out, but I never watched them. But
Runaways was that aired on Peacock. I think it was a Peacock show, that one. So we didn't get it over here. We've got it now. I think it's just on Disney Plus now. But Cloak and Dagger was the other one. That's the slowest TV show you will ever watch. It's unreal. It's painful. It's that slow.
There was that one that was the first TV show. No, it was after, not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they were so confident that they had showings of the pilot episode in like cinemas, and it had that woman with the red hair that was, I can't remember what the TV show was called. And it had Black Bolt. Was it? Who's in Doctor Strange 2, who gets his head collapsed. But
are we talking of the Disney stuff? Or
yeah, it's only about 5 or 6 years ago now.
Well, there was WandaVision was the first.
Oh, there you go. Inhumans, that's it.
Oh, Inhumans. Oh, Christ, that's terrible. Yeah, that's again. It's the only good actor amongst it is one of the guys that was in Game of Thrones. He plays like Inhumans. Yeah, it's terrible.
I think yes.
That was a Sky show. Sky produced.
They thought, we're in a moneymaker here.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's dreadful.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than I thought. This Marvel universe is.
Oh, it's unreal. To be fair, and I think the problem is with it is the likes of X-Men and other things have been owned by Sony, because Sony just brought the licensing franchise to involve for years. That Sony can't make a good film to save their lives, and you know what I mean. So now they're trying to integrate all these Sony-owned properties back into the MCU, but the MCU doesn't know how to bring them in properly. So they're still doing Sony's still doing films like fucking Venom and that, which were just complete shite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've only seen the Venoms once.
Yeah, god awful. I mean, isn't Blade getting a reboot as well?
Yes, it's for the last 10 years.
Yeah, Craven's due out any time. You know what I mean? Christ, nobody will know who Craven is unless you've watched the Spider-Man cartoon show, or you know what I mean.
I've seen him but yeah, they're building him.
'Cause
They
he-
changed his origin.
yeah,
as well,
'cause-
haven't they? So it makes no sense.
Yeah, because he's intertwined with Spider-Man and Blade. You know what I mean? So his storyline is because what's his face pops up in it that we had a film of last couple of years. The vampire guy. What was the vampire guy called?
In
Played by
Norton.
no. Played by he's a singer in a band. He played Joker. Yes, Morbius. So Craven's hunting Morbius. Morbius is Blade's hunting Morbius. Morbius is hunting Craven. Craven's hunting, but Spider-Man gets entwined in it all. It's like his fucking head exploding. But because they're Sony properties, whether they all get brought into one big thing, God only knows. You know what I mean? It's
they're running out of money, aren't they? By after the
yeah.
If you slate Madam Web, I will force choke you from here.
Yeah, I mean, I've not even got into watching that, and there's no chance in hell.
It's got a lot of traction.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean,
trash. Yeah, Morpheus is trash, and then they thought it couldn't get any lower until Madam Web came out, and now Morbius is being held in high regard.
Yeah, which is a shame because you know what I mean. In these cartoons, a lot of these characters are pivotal characters. In the comic books, they're pivotal characters. They hold the storyline together. Yeah. But for some reason, when it comes to doing films out there, they just cannot seem to get anything right.
Well, if they had that Sydney Bird in that tight costume that she was in, and the promotion for Madam Web, they wouldn't be able to stop people going to see it.
Yeah, but it's I still think, like I say, if you look at back as X-Men as a TV series, it holds up, and I think it holds up because it holds itself to an older audience as well. So I probably appreciate it more now than I did when I was younger. So you know what I mean? It's
a lot of adult themes running through it and doesn't talk down to kids.
Massively. And you know what I mean? I'm a cartoon freak. I'm obsessed with cartoons, and a lot of it doesn't hold up at all. You know what I mean? And as fond as I love a lot of them, you know what I mean? And I look at them with nostalgic rose-tinted glasses, they truly don't hold up. You know what I mean? If you watch He-Man and the Master of the Universe, it's absolutely terrible. But as a kid, I fucking loved it. And I love the franchise and I love everything about it. But if you go back and watch it as a show now, it's goddamn awful. You know what I mean? It just doesn't hold up.
At least
out of the two, which as a kid I hated. No, I love it. But if you look at the He-Man show and the She-Ra show, and you put the two together, She-Ra is a far better show than what He-Man is. It's better story writing, it's better characterization, the animation style's a little bit better. So out of the two, She-Ra is definitely the better show, but everybody fondly remembers He-Man. But if anybody actually goes back to it, like it's sort of like our age now, who's not seen it since they were a kid, and you go back and watch it and you think, what the hell is this? Awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Larry says the Dolph film is one of his favourites.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites too, Paul. But like I say, as a kid, I can remember coming out the cinema going, what the fuck have I just watched? That wasn't He-Man. You know what I mean? He-Man didn't have a gun. You know what I mean?
Buy the toys.
Yeah, buy the toys, kids. Go best your parents. But that mean X-Men, it spawned a toy line, but it wasn't prolific. No. Considering the show was massive, you'd think the toy line would have been big off it as well as, but no, it wasn't a really big toy line at all. I mean, there was stuff out there of the main characters. And they were done, if I remember rightly, were they done at 3 3/4 inch? I think the figures. So like Star Wars, Action Force kind of size.
Star Wars size.
So 3 3/4 inch stuff. And I remember them coming out like that. But again, they didn't seem to push a toy line. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Unless there was no money to push to a toy line.
After 2 seasons, they thought they would have been quids in.
Yeah, because it normally works the other way around. Most toy lines are pushed into a cartoon, and basically the cartoon was a 20-minute fucking advert to sell the toy. That's what happened with Master of the Universe. Master of the Universe was basically 152 episodes of advertising to kids. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, of course it was. It was massive. But X-Men didn't really spawn much. I don't think it wasn't.
No, I saw things today, and it just said there wasn't any toys, which is very odd.
Which
now there might be.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine. Well, I think Super 7 brought a line out not long back of 3 3/4 inch that were multi-posable. So I think somebody else brought some out as well as 5-inch figures, carded. They look really good. I can't think who put them ones out though. So there is stuff there, and there has been stuff out over the years. But as far as at the particular time, when they normally tag a good toy line onto a franchise like this, it just didn't seem to be a thing.
Yeah, because well, maybe that life-size Rogue rubber toy I can get somewhere.
Yeah, that would be quite good. I would imagine that's off some deep dark part of the web somewhere. You know what I mean? Being sent to you in a crate from China. You know what I mean?
3 working orifices.
Yeah. 24-hour charging period.
Anyway, get my mind out of the gutter. All these pictures I can see right in front of me. I think. Hang on, let me just move it around. Oh no, that's too big. Too big. No, I don't know. Can't see anyone else. Oh, that's just me. No, can't see that. Can't see all the characters.
Yeah, so you've got. I think everyone's on there apart from Morph. Morph isn't on there, I don't think.
No.
So you've got one.
He might be.
It might be, yeah. It could just be like the symbol at top or something. So you've got Beast, you've got Jubilee, you've got Storm, you've got Jean Grey, you've got Cyclops, Professor X, Wolverine, Rogue, and Gambit on that one.
Yeah. Because what is it? They've killed Professor X 3 times in the movies now.
Yeah, and somehow he just keeps wiggling his way back on again. To be fair, I didn't mind thinking playing Charles Xavier in the newer films. I actually, I'm terrible with names. I actually like him as an actor. Yeah, McAvoy. Yeah, I actually like him as an actor. He's good. You know what I mean? He's so him playing Charles Xavier was really good. Patrick Stewart, you know what I mean? Patrick Stewart was great as well. But
apart from he's so old.
But I like Patrick Stewart. Yeah, but I like Patrick Stewart in everything. So how can you dislike Patrick Stewart? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think Storm in the films had much in the early films. Well, I think she actually had less in them, which was younger in the newer films to do. Because all she's remembered.
Yeah, which again,
line.
Yeah, which again is weird because she's a really pivotal part in the cartoon. You know what I mean? She's sort of like put in the thing of she's a god basically. But the films never seem to touch on that in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
No.
It's
we need something here. Storm, change the weather now. You're used.
Yeah. Throw some lightning around. You know what I mean? Bring some fog in. I mean, it's like fucking hell. I'm a god, and you're using me like a lackey. It's,
pretty much.
Yeah.
I think Beast might be the only representation that's the same in the cartoon and the film.
Yes.
Because Yeah, because Rogue is completely different. Cyclops is completely different. Jean Grey is completely different.
Yeah.
They didn't keep any of those.
No. Gambit, the little bit that you do see him when he pops up in that, is it a Wolverine, one of the Wolverine films?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you know what I mean?
He's got a stick, he throws some cards around and he disappears.
Yeah, he buggers off again, yeah. But seeing the little bits of Wolverine in Deadpool, it looks like that they've gone for this costume, which I think it's just full on fan service at this point. You know what I mean? It's what fans wanted.
So
they're just serving it. Yeah, they're serving it up to fans, which I'm all in favour for. You know what I mean? People slag it, but I quite like fan service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they are bringing everyone back that they can, like even Elektra and maybe others. Allegedly, like they said the same thing about Multiverse of Madness, that Tom Cruise will be playing Iron Man and all this.
Yeah, it's like I say, I think it's pretty much done there. I mean, if Marvel decides just to keep on doing stuff like this, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? It's just to keep churning stuff out for the sake of churning stuff out. I mean, I don't know if you watched any of the Samuel Jackson one, the whatever it was called, something Invasion.
Secret Invasion. No.
Secret Invasion. By Christ, mate, it's boring.
It's 70s thriller, isn't it?
It's fucking terrible. Just nothing happens. I mean, the Hawkeye one that was out a couple of Christmases ago, there's just considering the using at the beginning, they're using him as the Ronin character. You think, yes, you know what I mean? The Ronin's an absolute badass. He's in it for about 30 minutes as the Ronin, then he just buggers off and just comes back as Hawkeye again. You know what I mean? You're thinking,
he's completely back to normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're setting up other stuff, weren't they? The Kingpin coming back, PG, and then Echo.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan. I was a fan of the stuff that Netflix did. So I enjoyed Jessica Jones. I enjoyed Luke Cage. I enjoyed. Iron Fist wasn't that was probably the weakest of them all. Daredevil was really good, and then when they brought them all together as Defenders, I thought, it's really, really good. Netflix have done something a bit different, and then they brought the Punisher out and they tied him in with the Daredevil stuff. And you think, Frank Castle's badass in this. It's great. Disney now decided they want to wash that timeline but bring these characters back with some of the same actors into this timeline. You're thinking, well, why? Just keep it as more an adult-based. You know what I mean? It's sort of IP. Just keep it. Kids don't need to be seeing a Frank Castle character that doesn't kill anybody. There's no point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Kids love RoboCop, but they hate RoboCop 3, which is aimed for kids.
Which is aimed for kids, yeah. People, they just want to see blood and guts. But no, like I say, it's I always like the Kingpin character within that set of Netflix stuff because he pops up loads in he sort of crosses across them all four shows, and it was really good. But I don't know. Did you watch any of She-Hulk? Everyone slated that. Now, personally, I didn't mind it because it was quite light-hearted. It was inoffensive. It was tongue-in-cheek. I'd rather have that than something, you know what I mean? But that's how it portrayed itself. It portrayed itself as tongue-in-cheek. Where everything else, it didn't lie at all, but people sort of disliked it for it, and I don't know why. Because if you've ever read any of the comic books, she breaks the fourth wall all the time anyway. She talks to the reader. And in this, she was talking to the viewer, which, I thought that was brilliant. You know what I mean? But the rest of it, they just can't seem to get it right. You know what I mean? It's in comparison, the Star Wars stuff that's done on TV is exceptionally good. the Marvel stuff. They just can't seem to get the TV stuff right.
Well, we'll see with the Acolyte.
Yeah, I mean, trailer looks okay. It's I'm a Star Wars mark anyway, so you know what I mean. Regardless of how good or bad it is, I'll watch it anyway. So.
Oh yes, the Punisher with Dolph is.
Yeah, Dolph was cool at it. It's not the Punisher that anybody really knew, but at the time, did anyone really know the Punisher? You know what I mean? They
the comic book character that
he's
killed people. That's about my level of knew it, and that's what the film did.
Yeah, he'd no skull on his chest or anything like that. It was just a big dude with jet black hair and a pair of leathers on. You know what I mean? But it's all it needed at that particular time.
I'm trying to think. Did we almost get an X-Men? I know the Fantastic Four was just a keep the rights movie, and then you got Captain America, and there was almost a canon Spider-Man film, which would have been epic.
Yeah, well, the canon Spider-Man film ended up turning into Cyborg.
Costumes and sets, wasn't it?
Yeah. What was the other one at that time? Oh, Captain America 1990. The film that they rolled out of that, you know what I mean? You're thinking, if you look back now, you're thinking, my Christ, what they're thinking of. But at the time, he was going, shit, man, it's Captain America on the big screen.
Yeah, Captain America in the suit, he's throwing the shield around.
Yeah, the film's on for 93 minutes, and I think he's in the suit for about 10. You know what I mean? He's hardly in the suit. He's hardly wears it. You know what I mean?
The Flash TV show, I guess.
Yeah, well, the Flash TV show is fantastic. That's I think that's for the time it came out, the early 90s, and how it was, and the way the Flash looked. That's a decent TV show. It is really, really good. But I don't know if you remember. Because you will definitely remember. Do you remember the really early Spider-Man films from the very late 70s, early 80s? Yeah, I mean, I bloody loved them films when I was younger. And it's the crappiest costume ever. The costume's horrendous. It looks like a pair of pajamas. It doesn't even fit properly.
It's a bit
but the brilliant cheese, you know what I mean? And I think did they make about three? I think there's about three of those, weren't there?
One Japanese one.
Yeah, but it's been all over the show for years, the Marvel stuff, and I mean to sum it all up, I think this X-Men franchise, it's probably the best of it all. This whole animated X-Men thing, for the storylines, for the characterizations, for the way it looks, for the way it depicts everything. I think this is the solid benchmark, and everything else around it is okay. You know what I mean? But
they tried.
This is they have. You know what I mean? And the early Marvel stuff, I don't mind the phase 1, phase 2 stuff, and then I just sort of got fed up with it all.
Well, that's the thing about this TV show. They had such weird characters in it, but they just fit so well into the cartoons. You didn't laugh at them.
Yeah.
Even the pterodactyl man that rides a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Cool,
you're thinking, where's this going? You know what I mean? But it's fantastic. It was like a He-Man kind of character. Those two fought against each other, and then the X-Men end up traveling back in time to help this He-Man character out. And you're going, what the fuck's going on here? Well, there's a volcano erupting. You know what I mean? He's going, what?
There's all like islands and places in space they visit and stuff that totally ridiculous, and someone must have been high writing the original comics they were taken from. But
definitely.
As you see them in the cartoon.
Yeah, as an animated TV show, it really, really works. Like I said, this is probably the pinnacle of the storytelling through the entire Marvel universe. To be honest, it's in this kind of form, whether it's TV or film. Obviously, if you're into comic books, that's a whole different ballgame. But within TV and film stuff, this is probably as good a writing or as storytelling as you was going to get out of it all, really.
Yeah. That's a good time to wrap it up. 90 minutes. And unfortunately, people in the chat talking rubbish, saying the third Spider-Man film is good.
No, see, it's
Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. Was he the best Spider-Man or best Peter Parker and Spider-Man?
yeah. Again, see, at that point in time, I just stopped caring. You know what I mean? I just
they made the first Amazing Spider-Man. It was, this is not going to be exactly the same as the other Spider-Man shows. There's a whole different story, and then they just cut it all out and just said that only had the basic Spider-Man story. And
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I said, at that point in time, I'd just give up caring. You know what I mean? It's same with the Batman stuff. Just keep rebooting and rebooting and rebooting. I just don't care. You know what I mean?
We are getting 2 Batmans soon, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we had 2 Batmans with Affleck and in the Flash and the Batman within a year of each other.
Yeah, I didn't care for Affleck. I don't really like Affleck as a central actor, taking a main role. Yeah, Daredevil was crap at that as well as. Now, as a support actor, I think he's brilliant. As a lead actor, not so good.
Paycheck would disagree with you there. So.
Paycheck. Yeah, but what's the other one where he's? Yeah, what was the other one Affleck film where he's like? I think he's like on the autistic spectrum, but he's really good with numbers. The Accountant, that's the one.
There's a Hitman as well.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get a sequel of that. But right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, man.
We upset anyone. Well, thank you for all that joined, even though was it Bob, Michael Myers, and 101 Bronze was up in their own fairyland because they've never seen the X-Men series, but
again, you're gonna have to be of a certain age to sort of know it or understand it or have seen it. You know what I mean? But it's on Disney Plus now. If you want to check it out, you can stream it on Disney Plus. I think there might even be episodes up on YouTube that run live constantly. Like G.I. Joe's on the air as well, and that just runs live constantly. So I think it could be possibly on there. Check it out. You know what I mean? It's a very, very good show. It holds up really well due to brilliant animation, brilliant storytelling, brilliant characterization. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good night, everyone. Good night, Bob.
Take care, everyone.
Good night, Jeff, and everyone else. Bob's 48, he still doesn't understand it. Thanks, Larry, for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Take care, John. See you later.